Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the 24th part of this series where we are building a personal dashboard app using Angular. In this video, we're going to be working on saving our application state to local storage. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on saving our notes state into local storage. Alright, cool. So let's go back to the code here and let's go to the notes service, noteservice.ts. Alright, so first of all, let's go and create a method that will save the state into local storage. So let's go here and let's create a method called save state. Okay, and inside here, what we want to do is we want to save our notes array into local storage. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to convert our notes array into a JSON string so that it can then be saved into local storage. So we could do local storage dot set item and then set the key here to notes, and then the value has to be a string, right? So this can be JSON dot stringify, okay, and then this dot notes. Okay, so now when we call save state, we will be saving the notes array into local storage as a JSON string. Okay, let's save that now. Okay, and let's actually go and let's use this method. So each time we add a note, we want to actually save the state, right? So here we can do this dot save state, and let's save that and go back to the application. Alright, so first of all, let's just actually open up the application tab so that we can see storage, right? So here we have local storage, okay, and it's currently empty. All right, so if we now go and click on add, and if we create a new note, so let's say this is a new note, and click on create note, now we actually see that we have an item in local storage, and it has the key of notes and the value of this JSON string, which if we look here, we're actually able to see what this JSON string contains, right? And here we see that it's an array and it has 3 objects inside it, and these objects are the note objects, right? Cool. All right, so if we now go here, we see that we have these 3 note cards, and we see that it's the same as what we have in local storage, right? Cool. All right, so now I guess the next thing we could do is we'd go and try and update this. So let's go to this one here and let's try and update this. So let's go here and say updated. All right, let's click save and let's go up here and let's go to local storage, and here we can't see the update, right? So we still have the old state. We see here that the title of the first note here is still the same, right? So it hasn't updated. So what we have to do is we have to go back to the application code, and we actually have to go to update note, and after we've updated the note, we actually have to call save state. So this dot save state, like that. All right, so save this and go back to the application. Okay, and let's go to this one here, and let's go and say updated. Alright, let's go and click save, and here we can actually see that it's been updated. Okay, so it's actually got the correct value. Okay, cool. Let's go here and let's actually try and delete this. Let's click on delete. Alright, so we can't see it here, so it has been deleted, but in local storage it's still showing here, right? So let's go back to the code and let's go to delete note, and here we can do this dot save state, like that. All right, save that and go back to the application. Okay, let's go here, let's go and click on this one, and let's click on delete, and there we go. We now have only this one note here, and if we look at the value in local storage, it's an array that has only one value, and it's this note here, right? So it's got the correct values Cool. All right, so it's actually correct. All right, so that's pretty good. I guess the next thing we could do is we can, in our service, we can actually retrieve the state from local storage so that each time we load the app, that it will show the values in local storage, because at the moment it's just showing the default values that we've hard-coded into the service and isn't showing the values in local storage. Alright, so if we go back to the code here, we can see here that these are the default values that are being loaded in each time we load the app. Let's actually get rid of these. Okay, so let's just leave an empty array like that. And if we save this and go back to the application, we now see that there are no notes. Okay, cool. Now let's go back here, and in the constructor, we can actually write some code here to load the state from local storage. And actually for this, I'm just going to create a new method called load state. So load state. Okay, and what we can do is we can do notes in storage is equal to json.parse. Okay, and the reason for this is because the value in local storage will be a JSON string, right? So yes, that's why we have to use json.parse. All right, so inside json.parse, we will be passing in local storage.getItem, and then the key will be notes, okay? And that's because we've saved it with the key notes. And if we go up here to the constructor, we can now do this.load state. Okay. If we save this and go back to the application, we don't see anything. And that's actually because I actually have to set this.notes equal to notes in storage. Okay, let's save this and go back to the application. And there we go. Here we can actually see this note here, and it's the same note values that are in local storage. Cool, so if we actually update this and say, hey, I am in local storage. Okay, if we click save now, we can actually see it's actually saved it correctly. We actually see here, we see that the title is, hey, I'm in local storage. That's good. Okay, and let's go and reload the page. And it's still the same. It still says, hey, I'm in local storage. Cool. All right. Let me actually just try one thing. Let me go and clear local storage. All right, and let's try and load the page. Cool. All right. So now there are no notes showing. Cool. All right. So let's try and add a new note. If we go here and set the title as testing and click create note. All right, and here we actually see that we have this error here. One error. So if we go to the console and we look at this, it's saying cannot read property push of no. All right, so that's actually in note service.add note. So if you look here, this is causing error. All right, so this isn't working because this.notes is no, right? If you look here, cannot read property push of no. And the reason for that is because in our local storage, we haven't got the notes local storage item. So if we look at what happens when we did load state, this would then return no, right? If you look here, it says it will return the current value associated with the given key, or no if the given key doesn't exist, right? So it's actually return no, and therefore this is no, and then we set this.notes to no, right? So let's actually prevent that from happening. So if we do if not notes in storage, then we can just return. All right, so then that won't happen if notes in storage is no, right? So if we save that and go back to the application, and if we go to the notes view, we can't see any notes. That's good because we don't have any notes in local storage. Let's now click add, and let's try and add a note. New note. Let's click create note, and it works. Cool. So that's pretty good. The next thing I want to try is I want to try and enter in invalid JSON here and see what happens. So this is invalid JSON. Okay, press enter. All right, and let's reload the page. Okay, and now we've actually been sent to localhost 4200, right? So we aren't at the route that we were at before. And if we go to the console, we actually see this error here, and it's saying that that there's an uncore error, and it's because of the invalid JSON. So if we actually go back to the service, we have to actually prevent this from happening, right? We actually have to handle the error properly. So if we go here, what we can do is we can actually do a try catch, and let's move all of this into the try block, and in the catch block, what we can do is we can say console.log, there was an error retrieving the notes from local storage, and then just do console.log the error. Okay, let's save that and let's go back to the application. Okay, let's go to the notes view. All right, cool. Okay, so here we can see that we get this logged to the console, and we see the error is logged to the console as well. That's good, but it doesn't actually break our app, so it's still actually able to do things. So if we go here and we create a new note, test, click create note, it actually works. Okay, so that's pretty good. We've actually prevented this error from completely breaking our app. All right, cool. And at this point, now that we've created this note, if we go to application and go to local storage, here we see that we have this in local storage, right? So it's actually cool. All right, so if we reload the app, then we see test there. That's good. Cool. All right, so then here we now see test here. If we change this to, hey, I am going to be here after reload. Okay, I'm going to press enter. All right, so that's there. I'm going to reload the app now, and it's still there. Cool. And if we close this and reopen the browser and go to localhost 4200 and go to the notes view, it's still there. Cool. Cool. All right, so one thing I want to try is I want to open this up in another tab. Okay, so now I have two tabs open. I'm going to try and add another one. So this is going to be a second note. I'm going to click create note. All right, and it's showing up there. But if we go to the first tab here, it isn't showing up here. And if we go to local storage, all right, so here we can see in local storage that we have those two notes there. So that's good because we created that second note here. And we can see that the local storage will be the same even on this tab, right? So we have access to the second note. However, it isn't showing up here, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to listen to the storage event so that we can know when the data in local storage has changed, and then we can retrieve the state from local storage. So if we go back to our code here, let's go up to the constructor, and here we actually want to listen to the storage event on the window. All right, and the way that we can do this is by using from event, and this has to be imported from RxJS up here. And this is a function that will return an observable. All right, so if we say that the target will be window, and the event name will be storage. Okay, and now we can subscribe to this. If we do subscribe, and here we'll get the event, and that'll be of type storage event. Okay, and then here we can do a console log storage event fired, and then here we can do console.log, and then we can log the event. Okay, cool. Let's save this and let's go back to the application. All right, let's actually go to the console. And all right, so here we have these two notes and these two notes. Okay, so that's good. Let's actually go here and let's delete it in this tab, and let's see what happens in this tab, right? So if we go here and click on delete, all right, so it has been deleted from the UI, and if we look at local storage, it has been deleted from there as well, because now there's only one note object here, and it's called second note here. All right, so let's go back to the other tab. Okay, and here we see that they're still both here. However, we actually do have this in the console, right? So that's pretty cool. Storage event has been fired, and here we have the storage event, and it's this object, and we can see that the key is notes. All right, so that's the key of the local storage item that changed. All right, and we have the new value and we have the old value. That's pretty cool. So yes, that's pretty cool. All right, so now let's go back to the code. And what we can do is we can actually just check if the event key, so if event.key is equal to notes, then we can actually do this.loadState. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. All right, and let's just go to application and let's see what's in local storage. Okay, let's go and look here. All right, so that's the same thing. Good. Let's go to here, and actually let's go to the second tab here, and let's click add, and let's add a new note. This is a new note. Let's click create note. All right, and you can see that this has changed in local storage. That's good. It's been added here. That's good. And it's in the UI. That's good. Let's go to the first tab here, and it hasn't actually been put here. All right, so we do see that it is in local storage, but it hasn't actually put it in the UI. And the reason for that is because in load state, what we do is we actually all right, so here we can see that we are setting this.notes equal to notes in storage, right? And this is an array of notes, right? And here we are setting this.notes equal to notes in storage. And when we do get notes from the notes.component class here, what this returns is it returns a reference to the notes array, right? And when we do this.notes is equal to notes in storage, then it's actually setting it to a new array, right? So this is a different array. So it isn't modifying the existing notes array, right? So what we could do, all right, so what we could do is we could not do this, and instead we can do this.notes.length is equal to 0. And what this will do is it will clear the notes array while keeping the reference. Okay, and then we could do this.notes.push, and then we can unpack the notes in storage. So notes in storage. Okay, cool. So now what this will do is it will modify the notes array so that its items are exactly the same as the notes in storage. Okay, but it will keep the reference. All right, so let's save this now, and let's go back to the application. And now let's try this again. Let's go to the second tab, and let's go to this one, and let's actually delete it. Okay, cool. All right, so it's been deleted here. And if we look at local storage, it's also not here. Okay, so it's been deleted from here as well. Okay, cool. And now let's go to the first tab, and there we go. It's also been deleted from here. Great. let's actually go here and let's try and update this. Press enter. Okay, cool. And let's go to the first one, and it's updated. Cool. That's really good. So let's actually put these side by side. Okay, and let's just close these. All right, and let's try and create a new one. New note. Click create note, and there we go. It's actually added it here. Cool. All right, so now let's go and say I have been updated in the first tab. Press enter, and there we go. It also updates it in this window here. Cool. All right, so that's pretty good. Let's just go in here and delete this. Cool, and delete that there. Awesome. Let's go here, say new note from second app. Cool. All right, that's looking pretty good. Cool. All right, so let's go back to the code. And one quick thing I want to do is I want to comment out this line of code here, because I don't think we actually need it. So we can see this if we comment this out. If we save this and go back to the application, and if we go to local storage and clear this and reload the page, okay, and if you try and add a new note, test, and press enter, it works, okay? So we don't actually need this line of code here. So I'll leave that commented out for now. And yeah, cool. All right, so now let's go up here, and everything's looking pretty good. But one thing we could do is we could actually unsubscribe from this when the service destroys. So we could just do implements on destroy, and now we can do ng on destroy, and we can just create a new property here called storage listen sub, and it's going to be of type subscription. Okay, and this actually returns a subscription, so we can just do this.storage listen sub is equal to that, like that. Maybe we can make that go like that. Okay, and now we can go here and say if this.storage listen sub, then we can do this.storage listen sub dot unsubscribe. Cool. All right, let's save that and go back to the application. And let's just make sure it's all working properly. Let's clear local storage. Let's just close this, reload the page, and let's actually put these two side by side. Let's reload that page. Cool. All right, so let's go here, say new note. There we go. Let's create another one. Second note. Let's create another one in this window here. Third note. That's looking pretty good. Let's go here and let's update this. I have been updated. Awesome. And let's go here and delete this one. Cool. All right, so it seems to be working. Let's try and reload the page. All right, that's good. And reload the page. Yeah, let's open up another tab. And it has that state there. Cool. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Let's go to the console, make sure there's no errors. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. So the next thing we can do is we can go and do the same thing for the to-dos, right? So let's go back to the code here, and let's go and let's close this file here, and let's just keep open the note service, and let's go and open up the to-do service. All right. And here, let's actually get rid of these hard-coded to-dos. All right, save this and go back to the application. All right, so we see this now. And now let's go and create the save state and load state methods. Okay, so save state. And save state will be pretty similar to what we have here. All right, so that's what we did here in the note service, and it'll be very similar. So here we can do local storage dot set item, and the key will be to-dos. Okay. Okay, and then the value will be json.stringify this.todos. Okay, cool. Let's save this and go back to the application. Let's go and open up local storage. And here we see we have the notes item. Okay, so let's see if we can create a new to-do here. So test, press enter. Okay. And oh yeah, we actually haven't called save state in add to do. So let's go and do that. Let's do this.save state. And while I'm here, we can just go and do it in the update to do as well. This.save state, and in delete to do. This.save state. Okay, save that and go back to the application. Let's look at the local storage. Okay, let's go and click add. Let's add a new to do. Test. Press enter, and there we go. So we see that here we have the to dos in local storage. Cool. Let's try and add another one. Second to do, and there we go. And in local storage we have this second item here. That's awesome. Let's try a third one. Cool. And if you look here, we have the third one here. Cool. All right. So if we look here, and let's try and delete this one. All right. And if we look here, now there's only two. And if we delete this one, okay, now there's only one. That's pretty good. And let's delete this. And now it's an empty array in local storage. Cool. All right. I guess the next thing we could do is we could try and update one. So let's create one. Testing. All right. We see it's here. If we go here and update this. So if we go to the edit to do view here and change this to updated and click save. Now here we see it's set to updated in local storage. Awesome. All right. So that's looking pretty good. The next thing we can do is we can work on loading the state in on load, right? So let's try and reload the page, and we don't get any to-dos here. So let's actually go and work on the load state method. Let's go here and let's work on load state. Okay, and let's actually... Alright, so the first thing we can do here is we can get the to-dos in storage. Alright, so to-dos in storage is equal to json.parse and then local storage.getItem to-dos. Okay. And then we want to clear the to-dos array. So this to-dos.length is equal to 0. And this will clear the to-dos array while keeping the reference. Okay. And then we can do this .todos.push ..to-dos in storage. Okay. Okay. Let's save that now and let's go back to the application. And oh yeah, we actually have to call this method in the constructor. Okay. Load state. Okay. Save that. Go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. All right. So that's pretty cool. Let's now change this to updated again. Press enter. Let's reload the page. Cool. Let's add another one. Another to do. There we go. Let's reload the page. And there we go. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's now go here and let's actually clear all of that. Let's reload the page. Okay, and we can't see anything. We're getting an error here. To-dos in storage is not iterable. All right. So the reason for this is because if we look here. If this is null, then we are trying to do ... to-dos in storage which is null, and we can only do ... and unpack and if it's iterable, and if it's null, it's not iterable, right? So that's the reason we're getting this error. All right, so what we can do is we can do an if statement here and do if not to-dos in storage, and then just return, right? So we could do that. I'm gonna do that, save that, and go back into the application. All right, so save that and go back to the application, and let's go to to-dos. All right, let's reload the page, and we don't get that error anymore. That's good. If I go here and do test and press enter, that works. Cool. So let's try and clear the array again, reload the page. Cool. And we don't get any errors. Cool. So we could do that. We could also just comment this out and do the try catch, right? And that would also work. The reason we still need the try catch is because if the local storage value is invalid JSON. So for example, if I just save this and go back to the application, if we go to application, and there isn't any value in there at the moment, but if I go and add a new to-do, and I go into the to-dos local storage item value and just change this to invalid JSON, and then I reload the page, then we get an error. So if I go to console, we get this error here, right? So we're gonna have to do a try catch here, like we did in the note service, right? So if I go here and I just do try and catch, and then move this into the try block there, and then in catch we're going to do something very similar. So I'm just going to console log to the note service. I'm going to go to note service and just grab these 2 lines of code here and paste them in there, and just change this to to-dos. Okay, and then I'm going to save this and go back to the application, and if we go to to-dos, okay, then we get this in the console, but it isn't actually breaking our app. So we are still able to add to-dos, new to-do, and things like that. And I'm going to be able to change this to updated. Cool, and then I'm going to reload the page. Cool. Cool, all right, so the next thing we could do is we can actually see what happens when we have 2 of these open. All right, let's go to to-dos on this one. All right, if I try and add one here, a new to-do, we can't see it in this one here, right? So let's go back to the code here, and let's work on subscribing, listening to the storage event. So let's go up here, and let's go to the constructor, and very similar to what we did in the note service, if we look up here, we are doing this to subscribe to the storage event. So I'm going to go to the to-do service, and here we can do from event, and that's be imported from RxJS, and then the target will be window, and the event name will be storage. Okay, and then here we can do .subscribe. Okay, and we'll get the event here, event, and maybe of type storage event. Okay, and then here we can do console.log event, save this, go back to the application, go to the console, and let's actually open up both of them. And if I go here and create a new one, new to do, cool, then we see this in the console, this storage event. So yeah, so now what we can do is we can go here and we can actually just do an if statement. If event.key is equal to to-dos, then this.load state. Okay, save that, go back to the application. All right, let's just close the console and let's open up both of them. Okay, and then let's go here and let's try and update this. Updated, press enter, and it does update. There we go. However, we did see something a bit weird where the to-do items actually animated out. If we try that again, let's go here and say this has been updated again. Then we see that they've all animated out, and then they come back in, right? So if I try and change this, new to do. Alright, so the reason that this is happening is because Angular is re-rendering all of the to-do items each time we are loading the state in from local storage, right? So when we make a change here on this window here, for example, if we go here and change this, we have then triggered the storage event, and then the to-do service is calling load state, right? And then in load state, we are loading in the state, right? And then each time we load in the state, Angular is re-rendering all of these to-do items, right? So we actually have to prevent this from happening. All right, so to prevent this from happening, we are going to provide a track by function to the ng4, right? So if we go back to the code here and go to the to-do.component.html, the to-dos.component.html, this one here, and look at this ng4 here. And if we go here, and if we provide a track by function, like we can see in the documentation here, here we can provide a track by function like this, right? So we're going to use a semicolon here, and then do track by, and then colon, and then the name of the track by function. So let's call this track by ID. Okay, let's save that now, and let's now go to the to-dos component class, and let's create that track by ID here. Track by ID. Okay. And if we look at the documentation, this is a track by function. If we click on that, then here we see alright, so here we see that we can take in the index and the item, so we can do index and item, and the item will be of type to do. Okay, and then here we just want to return item.id. Okay, if we save this now and go back to the application. Okay, and if we try this again, let's try and update this. There we go. It has updated it here, and it hasn't actually animated them all out. All right, so it hasn't actually re-rendered the to-do items. Cool. Let's try and click on delete. Cool. All right, so let's go back to the code here, and we can close this, and we can close this, and okay. All right, so now let's just look at this. So I think everything's basically done here. One thing we can quickly do is just unsubscribe from this on destroy. So we can implement on destroy, like we did here, where we created the storage distance subscription, and then we just unsubscribed like that. So I'm just going to copy this ng on destroy and paste it in here, and I'm going to create this storage distance sub property like that, and then do this dot storage distance subscription is equal to that. All right, let's just put that onto a new line. All right, cool. Let's save that and go back to the application and just make sure it's all working. Let's go here and let's update this. Click save. There we go. That's good. And let's try and delete this. Cool. All right. So that's looking pretty good. And I think we can now move on to the bookmarks. Cool. All right. So now we can actually move on to bookmarks. All right. So let's actually close this one for now, and let's just go here, go to bookmarks. All right. So let's go to the code, and let's close the to-do service for now, and let's go to the bookmark service. Okay, and first of all, let's get rid of the hard-coded bookmarks. All right, save that, go back to the application. Okay, so now that there are no bookmarks, let's now go here and let's go and work on save state. Save state. Okay. All right, so here we can do local storage.set item bookmarks json.stringify, and then the value will be this dot bookmarks. Okay, let's save that, and let's go to add a bookmark, and let's do this dot save state. Save that and go back to the application. Let's create a new bookmark. Let's set the URL to wikipedia.com. Create a bookmark. There we go. And it says created bookmark here. It's created it there. Let's go to inspect. Let's go to local storage. And here we go. So it's here, and we have this bookmark in local storage. Nice. All right. So let's try and create another one. Let's set the URL to example.com. Okay. And now that's there. And if we look into local storage, we have two items, and they are both here. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. So let's try and go and update one of these. So let's go to manage. Let's go to wikipedia.com. Let's change the name to Wikipedia. Press enter. Okay. It's been updated in the UI. And if you look into local storage, it hasn't been updated here. The name is still wikipedia.com. So if we go back to the code here, we can go and call save state here, like that. All right, so let's save that, and let's go back to the application, and let's go here, and let's go to the bookmarks view, and it isn't actually loading in the bookmarks, so let's just quickly go and do that. Let's go here, and let's go and quickly do load state. All right, and let's do bookmarks in storage is equal to json.parse local storage.get item bookmarks. All right, and let's put this into a try catch. Put that in the try block, and then here you can do console.log. There was an error retrieving the bookmarks from local storage, and then log the error. All right, and then here we can now do this dot bookmarks dot length is equal to 0, and that's to clear the bookmarks array while keeping the reference. And then here you can do this dot bookmarks dot push dot bookmarks in storage. Okay. Now let's go up to the constructor, and let's do this dot load state. Save that, go back to the application, and now we are loading in the state. Cool. Alright, so it seems like that the bookmarks are being loaded in from local storage. However, the favicon for Wikipedia isn't loading, and the reason for that is because when we convert the bookmarks array into JSON, the URL field is being set as a string, and then when we load it in, the URL is a string, right? So that then causes, and then that leads to the application being unable to find the favicon, and that's because if we look at the bookmark tile component, here we're using tile icon source, and if we go to the component class tile icon source is using the origin property on the URL object. And if the URL property of the bookmark is a string, then this won't exist on it, right? So this will be undefined, and therefore the tile icon source will be undefined /favicon.ico, and if we look here, that's exactly what it is. It's undefined /favicon.ico, right? Alright, so to fix this, we actually have to go back to the code here and close this and go to the bookmark service and go to the load state method. And when we load in the state, when we are passing the JSON that we get from local storage, we actually have to transform it. We actually have to convert the URL strings into URL objects, and to do that, we can actually pass in a second argument here. Okay, and this is the reviver, which is a function that transforms the results. Okay, so if we do this, we'll get a key and a value. Alright, so first of all, we actually have to return a value. So we have to return value. Alright, so now this function won't do anything but return the value. So it won't do any transformations at all. So what we should do is we should check if the key is equal to URL, then we want to return new URL value. Okay, if we save this now and go back to the application, then there we go. We now see the Wikipedia favicon. Cool. So that looks pretty good. Cool. All right, let's try and add another one. Let's set this one to https google.com. All right, and if we try and reload the page, then it's able to load all of the favicons correctly. That's good. All right, so let's now try and edit one of these. Let's go here and let's change this to youtube.com and change this to YouTube. All right, save that. Let's go back to the view. Okay, let's try and reload the page. And there we go. Cool. So updating does work. That's good. Let's see if deleting works. Let's go here, and let's delete this one. Okay, let's go to the bookmarks view. Okay, and let's reload the page. And it's still there. Okay, so we actually have to go and save state after we've deleted the bookmark. Okay, so here we can do this .save state, like that. All right, save that and go back to the application. Okay, let's go to the manage view. Let's go here, let's click on delete. Let's go to the bookmarks view. Okay, let's reload the page. And there we go. Cool. All right, so that seems to be working pretty good. Cool. All right, I guess we close this now. And let's try and open up another tab. All right, so let's try and go here and let's try and edit this. Let's change this to example. Okay, I'm gonna click save. Okay, it's saved here. Let's now go to the first tab, and it hasn't updated, right? So what we want to now do is we now want to go and make sure that the data is updated if the data has changed in local storage. So what we want to do is we want to go and subscribe to the storage events, right? So let's go to the note service and let's just copy what we did here. Okay, let's just copy that and let's go here and paste it in the constructor like that. First of all, let's just create this property here like that. That'll be of type subscription like that. And from event has to be imported from RxJS here. Okay, and we now need to change this and just check if the event.key is equal to bookmarks. Okay, let's save this now and let's go back to the application. Okay, let's go and let's just put these side by side. Okay, and I'm now going to go here and change the name to change the name, and I'm going to press enter, and there we go. It's changed over here now. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, let's go and delete this, and it has actually deleted it on this window as well. Cool. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let me try and add one. New bookmark. Let's just put example.com, and there we go. And now we see it over here. Cool. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Cool. All right. All right. So the next thing we can do is we can create the button that the user can use to change the background image. Cool. All right. So the next thing we can do is we can actually implement the feature of this application which allows the user to change the background image. And so yes, let's get started implementing this feature.